Hey, Mark Rodriguez here. You're watching the review Sanctum, where everything and anything may be reviewed. And with me is...
Juvie Chan, are you calling in the Juvie or you just call me Wendy? Hey guys.
Yep, and today we're going to be talking about Fantastic Four First Steps, the latest movie in the big, super long MCU. And yes, it's still opening weekend. This video might be up a couple of days later, but still, if you guys haven't seen it yet, beware. Big spoilers. And if you guys haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, there's a little spoiler there too. So... yeah, a lot of spoilers here and there. So,
I think we should just let the, just let the cat out of the bag with this one. If you did, for Thunderbolts, Fantastic Four make an appearance in that.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So we were wondering if this movie was going to be connected to that one somehow.
Yeah, and we won't spoil. I don't want to spoil like the whole, like the final scenes or anything like that, like the ending or whatever. But I will explain what we thought was going to be the ending based on Thunderbolts, so we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But, well, first of all, one of the big things about the movie is that it takes place in an alternate Earth that's not the main MCU Earth. I think it was called Earth 829. And honestly,
but who knows? Who knows? One of those.
But I forgot offhand what the Earth in MCU is called. I know it's not the 616. 616 is the actual Marvel Comics main one.
Mm-hmm.
But I know they gave this a different name to explain, the differences.
Yeah.
So basically, the whole thing about the movie, to keep it because it really goes for the old-fashioned vibe when the Fantastic Four first appeared in the comics and stuff back in the day.
So 1960s aesthetic, 1960s style, 1960s logos. I mean, I love it.
It's kind of sort of modern day-ish because we got robots and stuff, but it's like, but still like the 60s aesthetic never left. So people are still using like you still got like records, and I can't think of anything else offhand besides the records. I think it was like you said, lots of like old logos and stuff and things.
And of course, the biggest thing, the hair and the clothes.
Yeah. So,
but even then, I want slight spoilers because toward the ending, when I get into it, it takes a few years later, and you see Sue, she had more of a 70s style.
Yeah. So, anyways, in this movie, we're gonna like what they do with a lot of things in the Marvel universe nowadays. Because there's how can I say, characters have already had previous movies and other stuff, so it's not repeating over and over. They kind of glossed over the origin. If you remember in the Spider-Man MCU ones, they didn't really go too much into like, oh, he just got bit by a spider, because everyone knows that by now.
Yeah.
So here, the Fantastic Four has actually been around for 4 years already when the movie started, and they appear on TV and stuff. So they kind of briefly explain the thing that they're like, you guys know, they're astronauts going to space. They get hit by cosmic rays. They come back like Fantastic Four. They came back, changed in more fantastic ways. Fantastic Four. But anyways,
it's clobbering time.
Yep.
Oh, and they even referenced that.
Yep.
The old Sixes cartoon.
They have a cartoon there. But what I like the most is that when they were showing like the little montage of how they saved the world many times, because by now like everyone in the world loves them and trusts them because they saved the world a lot. I love how they mentioned like Mole Man and the Wizard and the Puppet Master. And the thing that really got me the most is that they actually referenced the weird green monster that was attacking the world, and the Fantastic Four flying around trying to stop it and stuff. That was the cover of the very first issue of the Fantastic Four, and I'm pretty sure their first enemy was the Mole Man, and I guess that was one of the Mole Man's monsters and stuff. And
I guess you can show the cover right here.
Yeah, I'll put a picture there for comparison. And I remember one of the Fantastic Four cartoons, the 90s ones, they actually referenced that too in the intro. So I just love how they, like that's, that's history there.
That's paying attention to detail.
Yeah. So basically in the movie there's two things going on, and they kind of intersect, which is kind of interesting. And I do want to say another thing too before I get deeper into it. We find out that Sue is pregnant. And so you're going to deal with that. So she's going to have a baby, and the dynamic's going to change, and those babies coming and stuff like that. But of course, the bigger threat is that Earth has been chosen to be consumed by Galactus. So the Silver Surfer appears to warn the world that Galactus is coming, your days are near, this is your time to spend with your loved ones or whatever, because, he's coming. And of course, the big doubt is, can the Fantastic Four stop him? Or what can they do? That kind of thing. Now, one thing I do want to say, and it's kind of cool, and I hope that more trailers do that going forward, and that's pretty good, because we're all tired of like the trailers that reveal almost the whole fucking movie and too many things and all that stuff. Well, I go by the trailers for this one, is they showed most of the stuff that only happened in the first couple of minutes of the movie, like the first maybe 15 minutes of the movie, where they showed that she was pregnant, you know, the big thing with the Silver Surfer showing up and the people getting worried, you know, stuff like that. They didn't really show too much about later in the movie. So the cool thing is, when you're watching the movie, once you get past that whole part, where you guys already seen the trailer, you know, and then like Johnny Storm goes after her and he grabs her to the board and she like knocks him off. Once that's over, like, you don't know what's happening for the rest of the movie. All the stuff there, that's new, like, uncharted territory. The trailers does not really give too much away, so you don't know, like, where the movie's gonna go, what's gonna happen, and I like that.
Galactus was even the villain, honestly.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, but you didn't.
I mean, I wouldn't have put it together myself because I'm not as well versed.
Yeah, but the thing is, I like that, and most movies should do that. Most movies should only show like the first couple of minutes to lead up, you know, a little bit, but then like leave the rest of it a mystery.
In other words, how trailers used to be.
Yeah.
Because like I said, you can watch like trailers, like older trailers, and it didn't reveal a lot of stuff. It was trying to entice you to go to the movies to see what is going to happen or what it's going to be about, as opposed to how it is now. And this is why I don't look at don't really bother with trailers and having it so long, because like I said, like you were saying, they usually just reveal the whole doggone plot, movie, everything within the trailer. So there's just no point.
Yeah. So, anyways, Fantastic Four do get ready to go off into space, and they go through some kind of wormhole thing they got set up.
But they're very pregnant too.
Yeah, that's another thing. And they actually go meet up with Galactus. They run into the Surfer, and yes, I will comment. And everyone's gonna comment. It's a female Silver Surfer. I still don't quite like. I mean, I guess within the themes, but I don't know. Because the thing is, it's like. Okay, she does exist in the comics, but she had a very small role as opposed to the main Silver Surfer that we know. And when it comes to the whole storyline of the Fantastic Four with Galactus and all that stuff, I mean, that was the Silver Surfer that they met. It wasn't this one. And I think it's like the equivalent of like, let me see, I think Duke Thomas. Like Duke Thomas was Robin for a short time in the comics, very, very short, before he became, what's it called, The Signal, what's he called nowadays, and it would be like a Batman movie that takes place during the 60s era of Batman, or at least the era where Dick Grayson would be Robin, but they put Duke Thomas instead, and everyone would be like that makes no sense, but people would be saying, oh, but he's in the comics though, yeah, but not during that time, you know, like Batman's first Robin is Dick Grayson or something. You know what I mean? Like, they don't change it around. So yes, she does exist in the comics. She's not made up or nothing. But she was not there during that time. I don't think she was even a concept in Jack Kirby's and Stan Lee's mind during the first initial meeting of the Fantastic Four with Galactus. You know what I mean? So anyways, they go to the world where Galactus is. Okay. And to give their credit, Galactus, like, he looks like straight out of the comics. Like, that is amazing. They did add a lot of, like, detail and very dark colors because, you know, for better or for worse, Galactus is a big, giant guy in purple, the big-ass helmet. That made look stupid in real life. But here they did it because he had very muted colors. He looked very, the eyes were all like, he looked very threatening. That you could take him seriously instead of, you know, if they went too literal, it would look kind of goofy. Yeah, that's the thing. And yeah, so the interesting thing is that Galactus wants the kid. He wants Sue's kid. And if you guys, I don't know the movie, I mean the movie like has hints here and there. The thing is that Galactus is more of a universal force of nature, but he's kind of cursed to be that way. He was a regular guy until he got cursed that way. And that's the thing. So he doesn't want to eat worlds because, well, I'm going to fuck you all up. No, he's starving, he's hungry, and of course, like any of us, we don't want to die. So he does go out to eat worlds. It's a thing he just has to do or he'll die. He doesn't want to just, you know, he can't stop, you know. So in this case, he wants the kid because he detects some kind of like the cosmic force in the kid, and he's hoping that the kid can help like absorb all that hunger away from him so he can finally rest and not do this anymore. So it's kind of a weird, you know, I don't want to call it noble, but it's not evil. I don't know. Like, it's a weird thing.
It's just a survivalist situation, really.
Yeah. But then, of course, it's the big thing, the big sacrifice. It's like, if you give us the kid...
We'll spare your world.
Yeah, we'll spare your world.
So, of course, they were going to... so, you know they weren't going to do that. So, yeah. Or else we wouldn't have him in the comics either for later on, right?
Yeah, and then the thing is, unfortunately, when Galactus like started scanning her body and all that stuff, it kind of triggered Sue to start like
going into labor.
Yeah.
So I was
like
wondering. Yeah, I was wondering if she was going into labor because she was stressed out, or was she going into labor because Galactus was scanning her, or just a combination of everything, and she was,
So it was a big epic scene where they had to basically get the fuck out of there. And everything they were doing was thwarted because the Silver Surfer kept getting in their face and all this stuff. Oh, she could like go through things too. She could just like they're in the ship and she just like I don't know, bypasses matter and goes into the ship directly and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a big thing that they have to get the hell out of there. And the whole time she's chasing them, and at the same time Sue's going into labor and all that. So it's like a big to do for them to escape and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the scene when they get back on Earth. You can probably tell that scene.
Yeah, so, everyone's like, oh, they're back. They've been gone for a month. They're back. They're going to tell us, that they defeated Galactus. The reporter there. So, how did you guys defeat Galactus? Then, Reed is there. It's like, yeah. Mr. Mandalorian is there. It's like, yeah, we didn't do it, man. We tried, man. But that's,
and wait. What do you mean you didn't do it?
Yeah, so, we had a bit of trouble up there, they tried to take us down, we had, come on now, we had to get out there, man, we wouldn't be back here right now, and all that other stuff, but, they were explaining to him the situation, and they said that Galactus did make did say that he would spare their world if they would sacrifice their newborn child. And I was thinking, Reed, don't say it. Well, if Reed sacrificed, see, they wouldn't, and then of course they were going to piss people off because it's human nature. It's like, fitter to survive, to survive. So sort of like Galactus going around eating the world so he can, to get rid of the hunger. But yeah, Reed, you're smart. Oh no, not all the time. Mm-hmm. You're smart. That should have never come up, but is Reed.
Yeah. So,
he's honest to a fault,
Yeah, so people know now that, the Fantastic Four were just giving up the kid, they'd be spared, So everyone's, like hate mobs and stuff and drama, everyone hates everyone, and Thing's walking around, hey Thing, what about the rest of us, huh? And
we have families. Oh, here's something funny I'm just thinking about. Well, look on the bright side. They don't have a bunch of monkeys typing online.
Yeah.
I know, different universe and everything.
So anyway, one part that, it's what it is, because it's a movie still, the suspension of disbelief and all that stuff, and people in movies make big speeches spontaneously that just doesn't happen in real life. But anyways, Sue goes out with her baby amongst the crowd, and I'm surprised the crowd didn't jump her then and there, to be honest, because everybody was frenzied, And it's just, I just kept joking with Wendy because she's making this speech about, her baby, she talks about her family and all that kind of stuff, and that, that together we'll face this, together we'll stop, and all that kind of stuff. Basically explaining, of course, that she's not going to give up her child, and that, we'll still save the world somehow, and all that kind of junk. But the whole time, I kept telling Wendy, it's like, shut up, like, tackle the bitch and take the kid, tackle the bitch and take the kid, because
in the real world, take the baby, give it to Galactus.
Yeah, because the thing is, in the real world, with this desperation that the world's gonna end, and that they give up that kid, you're gonna save yourself, because we're talking about everyone in the world, yeah, the moment she comes out and starts talking stuff, they would have tried to jump her. Someone would have jumped her. There's gotta be one of the less saner people in the crowd would have tried to jump her. Take the baby!
Honestly, I'm surprised she was down there and she wasn't talking in a more. But that's the thing. This is Sue. If someone came after her, she would have.
Yeah, but then that would make it look bad too, the bad press.
They already had bad press.
I know, but even worse. Invisible Woman attacks crowd. I don't know. That would have not gone well.
Yeah.
But that's the thing too. In this world, Fantastic Four are very, very highly revered and very respected and stuff. So yeah, you don't want bad press with them. No. So the whole thing, I don't want to spoil too much the rest of it, but the whole thing is about okay, what are we going to do now? What plans do they have?
Oh, wait, going back
Galactus?
to Sue coming out there talking about how we're all family and all, it was very, nice that what she did, but I was hoping she would bring up, we've been trying to come up with ways to defeat Galactus day in, day out, because we want everyone to be safe without having to sacrifice an innocent child, or something like that. Because I think that would have pulled heartstrings a bit more.
Yeah.
Than the stuff that Sue said.
I was also thinking, I'm surprised she didn't go there because there were lots of women in the crowd too.
Yeah. Would
like
you sacrifice?
Yeah,
your
yeah.
child?
Well, anyone
That's what I was
be
waiting
so willing
for.
to sacrifice your child for the greater good. I mean, think of it that way.
And that's what I was expecting to hear too, but she didn't say that unless there's probably like an edited version, like different takes, and maybe they just went with that one.
Yeah. So another thing also that factors in is that the Silver Surfer woman talks in her own language, and I like the recordings because the recordings are still like, it's all high-tech technology, but the actual thing that the recording is on records. So Johnny also has a bit of a side story where he's recording like the records and trying to figure out like the language and trying to I think he did mention Rosetta Stone.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
The Rosetta Stone, his way into knowing that language, so that does help too. So Johnny does have a bit of a role there, and of course, hey, kind of checking her out. I like the part when she showed up and stuff and things like, Johnny, your girlfriend's here, and that kind of thing. Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much of the thing, but I do want to mention what we all thought was going to happen in a bit. But overall, I like the movie. I like the characters. I mean, lots of stuff going on. I know people in the interwebs complain about, I guess, Sue doing whatever. One thing that they were complaining about, and I didn't get that in the movie, was they were saying that, Sue's like the girl boss, she's in charge, she's like the leader of the Fantastic Four, and I never got that.
It felt very evenly split to me, because everyone had a role. Yeah. Everyone contributed in some kind of way. Yeah. And I think maybe we saw early screenings or whatever, but they see Sue because she was, fighting against Galactus.
Yeah.
But I just want to say for that, she came across as a desperate and angry mother as opposed to girl balls,
Yeah, because hey, mama hen syndrome, man. You don't fuck with a woman's kid,
Yeah, and also too, like you hear these stories about people, like normal people, like they're like in a panic mode and they get that sudden adrenaline rush and they can pick up a car just for a couple of temporary seconds just so someone can get from under it. That's how I viewed Sue doing her major thing for the later part of the movie.
And Reed was still like the main guy. He was still calling the shots. He was still coming up with the plans. People came up to him for what his ideas were and stuff like that. It wasn't like, I don't know, what people imagined.
Except for Moment.
For Moment.
That's the only time in the movie where it's like, I want to talk to Sue.
Yeah, that part. But to be fair though, they did explain earlier that she was the one who made a deal with him earlier, so I guess he would respect her more. But still, it's not so much. I don't know. I don't think we're thinking, because I think nowadays a lot of movies do so many things that now people are looking for stuff that's not there, because they've been so tainted by all these other failed movies and Ghostbusters and all that.
Yeah, and
that now they're looking for signs.
Even with the Silver Surfer thing, even though they went with the female Silver Surfer, it still kind of works because
her backstory.
The backstory actually kind of works, because I guess you can parallel it to pretty much Sue's reaction later on in the movie, and not only just that, Johnny's role would have been. I think it worked because of Johnny. And I loved that with him. Even though, like I said, it should have been the original Silver Surfer, they just, switched it up. Because I had my doubts too at first. I said, but you know what? It worked in the context of the film.
Yeah. And to be fair, Johnny, I don't think he would have been as curious or as intrigued if she wasn't a woman. And even joked in the movie that, naked space alien babe or whatever, and Richard's like, well, technically speaking, she's probably not naked. She's probably wearing like a skin tight, and no, she's naked, and stuff like that. And I don't think the movie would have flown well, I am highly intrigued by the Silver Surfer's, naked chest, the big sweaty Silvermans. And then surfboards, flying with all their strong. I don't think it would have been a different kind of movie.
And like I said,
a different kind of diversity.
Yeah,
if
especially
Johnny was interested in.
Yeah, and remember Johnny's character has been portrayed as being a womanizer, and it's established that he is into the, he's a womanizer, but it wasn't really shown. So it was toned down, and even then with the context of the film, he wouldn't have been able to anyway. There was too many important things going on, and it was too focused on those, messages that Reed was receiving, and he was so, and Johnny was so, trying to decipher that, and then he was figuring out that, it's that Silver Surfer language, so he was so focused on that, but he still thought the Silver Surfer was cute. So they kept in the woman that he still like, I like those women, but at the same time, I'm sorry, it just worked.
Yeah, that's the thing. I heard the little interviews and whatnot. They want to tone down that, but the thing is, Johnny always was into the ladies, and if you're gonna pick one member of the Fantastic Four to like be fawning over the female Silver Surfer, the naked alien babe, it would be Johnny.
Yeah.
And I like the part where they're trying to escape and they got no choice, and Sue's like, "Kill her, kill her." Johnny's like, "Whoa, kill her, dude! She's after my baby. Kill her."
Yeah. Do you want to take your nephew?
Yeah, and he's like arming, the cannons or whatever. And he's like, just my luck. Finally, a woman I find interesting, and they gotta kill her. That kind of thing. So overall, like I said, I like the characters. Reed was good. I like that Reed. I mean, he was busy, but he wasn't as annoyingly busy like he is in the comics sometimes, where he really is super absorbed with work. He does kind of try to because it's the Reed Richards we're talking about. Still tries to kind of balance out the science stuff with the upcoming kid. And I like the friendly bickering and banter between Johnny and the Thing. That's what they always were. They're both like kind of like buddies.
Like brothers, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and they bicker and this and that, and so I like that too. Very good characterization.
I like Ben's his being in the kitchen and cooking.
Yeah.
I think he needs a little bit more garlic here. I love that.
Yeah, and also there's lots of things in the movie that make sense if you know the characters in the comics. They don't dwell too much on this and that because stuff's going on, but they still do factor in a little bit. You do see a bit of Ben's mood. You can kind of tell that it bothers him that he's like a giant rock monster. He lost his humanity in a way and stuff like that. And even though there was a scene that didn't dwell too much on it, they still did show a bit on how Reed never forgave himself, and he always feels guilty because with all his science stuff, he could never find a way to turn things back to normal and stuff, and things like dude, don't draw on it, man. For that kind of stuff. So it didn't harbor too much, but you still see those hints. So I do like that.
It's still probably in the back of his mind. They still feel bad for what he did, because he didn't calculate things quite right.
And I like Mole Man being in the movie because he's such an obnoxious little whatever. And
he's an obnoxious little weasel.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be a mole.
Yeah, and it's funny and oh man. But anyways, let me see what else. And of course, Sue, she had her role. Where most of her role was, trying to get ready to be a mother and stuff like that, and everything. And so yeah, it was a pretty good movie. I like the characters. I like the characterization. You get to see more Silver Surfer's backstory, which if you read the comics, you kind of know the conflicts that she also has, and the weight thrust upon you from becoming Galactus's herald. And Galactus, like I said, it's vague and stuff, but you don't really get the idea that he's like wahahaha, like a typical villain. He's doing it all for survival, and he wants the kid to hopefully cure his never-ending hunger and just end it, and stuff like that.
Too bad Reed couldn't offer that. Okay, he wants our kid to stop his hunger. Let me try to invent something with all my little scientific know-how to try to stop
Reed will invent the sensu bean.
Yes, exactly. He will invent the sensu bean, and then that way Galactus would no longer be hungry and wouldn't need to eat planets, or maybe let's try to find a cure for Galactus.
No. So anyways, what were your thoughts on the movie?
Yeah, I actually liked the movie. Like I said, I liked the fact that it was taking place not taking place in, but it was in the 60s. So, no, I love it because, like I said, I think time is gonna go by normal in their world at that point anyway. It just happened to be starting in the 60s, like the comics originally did. And like I told you, at the end of the movie, the after credits or whatever, it's 4 years later, and you see Sue is like I said, does her style change a little? Because like I said, I always notice things like that. So like I said, she looks more like it's more like early 70s look.
Mm-hmm.
So there is that, and we see that their child is a little older, and he seems very smart because the type of books he likes to read.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really like the movie. I love the banter between the characters. The chemistry was really good to me. That everyone seemed to work well together. Giving birth in space. No, here's my thing.
Zero gravity.
It's zero gravity. See, that should have made the birth easier. No, it really should have, because it used the gravity with it.
Well, yeah, but you still have to hold on to something to push. Because even when they were trying to, they want to strap her down, you're not strapping me down. It's like Sue, you gotta, grab onto something so you can push and all that,
No, I'm just saying the gravity should have helped her. Because she could have, I'm just thinking about
if it was a comedy movie, to be able to just shut right out and then catch because the gravity.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a funny thing. Let's see, I don't know, I forgot what I was thinking now, but yeah, I think the having the birth thing there. No, here's the thing I'm thinking about how some women get motion sickness and all this other stuff, and the fact that she was able to go out into space being that pregnant and no reaction from anything. I mean, either Reed built the perfect ship.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it is Reed Richards, so.
Oh my God. And I love how Reed was trying to think of things to protect the baby. Oh, I know this is the 1960s. Their world is just happy to be in the 60s, but it still has some modern things to it. Oh my God. I was joking about, really? Son can protect us for a kid? In the 1960s? He's supposed to stab your fork into the thing so you learn not to do it. No. Or or laying paint, you eat the paint chips. I mean, my aunt said they said it was sweet. But they were little kids in the 60s and stuff. Oh, and the fact that, oh my God, and I was saying, wait, car seats in the 1960s? Well, I know they existed, but who actually used them on the regular?
Yeah.
So I thought that was just kind of funny.
Yeah.
No, I mean just in a joking sense, but yeah, I mean
One thing I also noticed in the movie, because they were talking, because the people, the press conferences and all that junk, the actors, they were concerning people because they were talking about, I guess, gender roles and women roles in the movie. But the thing is,
I didn't even notice it.
Well, that's the thing, because it wasn't really subtle. It was just it wasn't pointed out. It just was. You know what I mean? Because the bad thing about the comics that dates them back then, unfortunately, is that since it was in the 60s, was her name? Sue had a very reduced role in there because she was still the woman, and there were parts that she would sometimes talk or whatever, and Reed would say that's nice, Sue, but why don't you go in the kitchen? The men are talking. Or there's time he's kind of like silence, woman, I'm busy doing my whatever. No time for your silly female whatever. I'm doing stuff, and that's the thing. Because product of their time. I mean, there was a lot of that. Obviously, in a modern movie, they're not gonna have that. So the movie didn't really, the thing is, it just was. She worked with other people, some kind of company. Oh, the Future Foundation, I like that reference. There was a Future Foundation.
Okay.
So we saw her, working with them and stuff. But the thing is, she was just doing that. It wasn't girl boss. It's just, she was doing stuff.
She had her role
and
outside
she was also,
she had her role outside of just being Reed's wife.
Yeah. And also, at the same time, preparing herself for motherhood, so she was going to do both, stuff like that. But the thing is, it wasn't pointed out in a rude way. It wasn't I don't know, Reed saying something, what's for dinner, hun? And then, oh, Reed, don't you know, women aren't just about making dinner anymore. Or something like that. It wasn't pointed out in some kind of haha, take that man thing. It just was a casual thing. She was not just a woman in the house, and obviously in 2025, we're not gonna have, I think we should do whatever. Oh, that's nice, Sue. Now go in the kitchen and make the men a sandwich.
Unless it was an actual comedic scene and they're both in on the joke.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah.
So
now you go make us a sandwich.
You wiggle that cute little butt over there and make a sandwich. And then men are talking.
I said, and then if I were joking like that, so you go wiggle your butt in there, come in there with me and make me a sandwich, a sandwich together.
Yeah. So there were no scenes like that. There were no haha, take that, Reed scenes. There was a scene where they did kind of argue a bit, but I mean, it makes sense within the context. We're talking about, are you going to sacrifice your baby, for Galactus and all that. So that makes sense. It wasn't but
yeah, like I said, I thought it was a pretty good movie. What we thought was going to happen with Thunderbolts. The ending to that. So at the end of Thunderbolts, as we mentioned earlier,
the whole final post-credit scene and everything.
Yeah, the Fantastic Four, they were in their ship, and what was it? It was
Well, they detected something. You know, the Thunderbolts detected something. They were they were doing the thing about that they're Avengers, but Sam Wilson wanted to sue or something because they're also the Avengers or something like that. So while they're talking, they find like some kind of signal from space. So they're checking it out. It's something from another world, universe, whatever. And you see it's a Fantastic Four ship. So the Fantastic Four, like I said in this movie, they're in some other Earth. In the end of Thunderbolts, we see that they've entered the MCU and everything.
Yeah, now what we were thinking that when they were trying to get away from Galactus earlier on, and they they said we don't have enough to get home and all that other stuff, we were thinking that they were going to take like whatever a portal or whatever it was that they could, and they were going to end up in there.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I thought it would have been like too early in the film for that.
Yeah.
So we were thinking that then I was starting to think that maybe while they're fighting Galactus, they somehow end up thrown into their universe or some in the MCU world. So,
yeah. And that's the thing about it. So we thought that somewhere in the end of the movie they were going to end up in the MCU. There was another part of the movie that I don't want to spoil too much that was involving a lot of like things. I was kind of thinking, oh, so that's where they're gonna end up in the MCU, but no, that didn't happen. So the whole thing for the movie, I guess, kind of spoiler, is that they don't end up in the MCU in this one, and there's nothing so far that connects this to that post-credit scene at the end of Thunderbolts. So it's kind of confusing. So I'm assuming, since we already know by now, I guess not a big spoiler, in the big Avengers Doomsday movie, all the remaining Avengers, the Thunderbolts characters, and in this case, the Fantastic Four, and even a lot of actors from the original Fox X-Men are going to be there, like the Cyclops guy, the Jean Grey, Beast, all the people are going to be in there too. So it's like a big Gambit. I think he might be in it.
I want Gambit.
I think he might be in it. But the thing is, and that was one that I didn't catch because people were saying, I don't know if you guys remember that long trailer that was just like these chairs with the names like, Kelsey Grammer and, I can't think of anyone else. But, the names of all the people that are going to be in the movie.
Yeah.
And it was like every half hour it would show the next chair, a long ass fucking trailer. But the thing is, a lot of people were noticing in retrospect that, and I think you guys know by now what happened in Thunderbolts, that if you see the names, you'll notice the names of all the actors from Thunderbolts except for the Taskmaster. and it's like, oh, okay. But anyways, I'm assuming that's what's going to happen. But the thing I was going to say is that one of the things that a lot of people were expecting, or the theories and stuff, where they were thinking that the movie is going to be that the Fantastic Four try and fail to stop Galactus, and in the last minute, to escape, as Galactus destroys that world, they end up in the MCU. And of course, now they're going to try to warn the MCU people that Galactus is coming, and let's, do something.
All right,
Happen.
That's kind of, we were both kind of thinking that was going to be the deal. So I just wonder now how.
Yeah, that is so weird too, because Thunderbolts came first. It's weird to announce that the Fantastic Four are coming before their movie comes out.
But that's the thing. It made you want to go see Fantastic Four to see how they would match together. But as you can see, joke's on you. You gotta wait.
Yeah. So I'm assuming I haven't heard any other movie from the MCU. I think the next big one is going to be Avengers Doomsday and everything. I haven't heard of any other movie between now and then. I mean, maybe more of the Marvel shows, but
oh gosh, if that's the case, we have to watch the shows to get it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't want to deal with that.
But yeah, we'll see what's going on.
It's like watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and all that other stuff. I mean, I know different, but yeah.
But overall, it's a fun movie. I enjoyed it. It was pretty good.
We
and
have
for me, I love
we have a 3 men and a baby scene.
Yep. And I love the just all the references. I was geeking out with like the references to all the other character names and stuff. I like the fact that they've been around for 4 years. And we, it's implied that they fought the Mole Man, they fought Puppet Master, they fought Diablo, they fought the Wizard. I was like, oh, the names, because I recognize all those Marvel villains that they've faced throughout the years. And I kind of wish that they were around Jack Kirby and Stan Lee.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because
I was actually thinking that. I was legit thinking the same thing. I said, too bad neither are around for this one. Because I think Stan Lee would have really had fun with this one.
Yeah.
And I was just trying, actually, while we were talking, I'm trying to imagine, like, what kind of cameo could Stan Lee have had if he was still around for this?
Yeah. And that's one thing I did like about the old Fantastic Four movie, that the comics actually did. Even what they could, because Jack Kirby was already gone by then. But during the wedding scene in the second movie, Stan Lee was trying to get in, and they wouldn't let him in. But I'm Stan Lee, yeah, whatever, sir, and all that kind of stuff. And it was funny because I believe in the comics, when they got married, they had a similar scene where Stan Lee and Jack Kirby were there, and they were also turned away for the wedding. So that was the best they could do because Jack Kirby wasn't there, anymore. But I mean, that was funny. So I am kind of curious what Stan Lee cameo he would have had in this one, where somewhere, probably somewhere in the crowd, or maybe they would have made him be the guy to ask, "Hey, excuse me, but are we safe?" Stuff like that. That would have been kind of.
No, with Stan Lee, he was like, "Just give him the baby away."
Oh, that would have been funny.
I can see him doing that. And Stan Lee, the way his personality is in general, I can see him being the one to be saying like, "Just give him the baby already."
Yeah.
I got a game to get to or something.
Oh yeah. All right. So anyways,
sorry guys, we're going off on lots of tangents, but like I said, we just want. Well, like I said, I really did enjoy this movie, and this is my first time actually getting really into the MCU stuff because it's starting over. Like with the last iteration, I really couldn't because it was just too much.
Yeah.
So like the only one I saw in theaters stateside was the first Iron Man movie, and I was kind of so with that. And then later on, I found out, oh, they're connecting all these movies now. I mean for their MCU stuff with Iron Man. I've seen other stuff before, like Spider-Man and the other Hulk and all that stuff that I actually fell asleep on in that theater too that we actually saw. We were going to.
Oh boy.
But yeah.
We'll wrap it up for now, guys. I just gotta say, let's see what else is coming down the line. Because I did find it interesting that most of the movies we wanted to see, I think we already got to see most of them. We got to see Megan, Superman, Thunderbolts, and now Fantastic Four. So we'll see what else is coming up.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is Mark Rodriguez signing off with a review Sanctum, where everything and anything will be reviewed.
And this is JP Chan, also known as Jupiter, and call me Wendy. See you guys next time.